Aloha, listeners and viewer. Welcome to another episode of Intermission, a conversation series between artists. Intermission is the Hawaii Chamber Music Festival's exclusive online channel with Broadcast Hawaii. I'm your host, Chris Yick, the founder of the festival, and today we have a special guest, cellist Sihao He, with us. Aloha, Sihao. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Chris?
Not too bad. I'm actually in Philly right now, even though I wish I was back in Hawaii.
Oh, you're in Philly now.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I'm crashing with a friend because I'm going to New York next year. I figured Philly's a lot closer, you know,
Nice.
location wise. Are you still in Evanston right now?
Yeah, it's getting worse. Or
All right.
yeah.
Yeah. So for
You're,
those of you guys who don't know, Sihao and I, we have a lot of mutual connections, and we've actually met once. And he's a graduate of the Robert McDuffie Center for Strings as well, but we did not cross paths. We crossed paths actually just this year in the Fabian concert series, where Sihao was now no longer a student artist, but one of the professionals featured. And then since then we've clicked, and I think Sihao has a lot to offer to listeners and viewers. So let's get started. So Sihao, I mean, obviously, um, everybody, all musicians, all professions are struggling with COVID-19. How have your experiences been? Like, how have you been coping? Let's just give me some of your first initial thoughts.
I think at first, the first like 3 weeks, it's for quarantine. It's really hard for me to have the motivation to practice actually, because everyone's just like
Yeah,
so upset about this whole pandemic.
for
And then,
sure.
and then for me too, I was so sad because my family is also still in Shanghai. So
Uh-huh.
back then it's worse than here. So I
Absolutely.
was upset and I was not motivated. I basically did nothing every day. Just
Well,
focus now.
how have I'm sure concert cancellations are affecting a lot of people, but for you, like, what has been, has it heavily affected you as well, or?
Some of the all of the concerts got canceled, and then it's okay because it's always like rescheduling in the future.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I feel like it's really hard for organizations like you like as a director
Sure,
to cancel concerts and then to reschedule it
definitely,
in the future. That's like
definitely,
double
definitely.
of the work.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think, in addition to performing and stuff, you're also a student right now, right? Like aren't you a doctorate candidate right now? So
Yeah,
how has the COVID affected all of that for you?
it's it's like good or bad. The
Hmm.
bad thing is like we cannot go to school to actually be in the classroom with all the students, DMA
For
students.
sure.
Good
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
is
absolutely.
it feels a little weird and it's kind of nice because you are in school but you don't have to go to school.
It's a dream.
Yeah, it's just like you can. It's kind of funny. It's just like you can wear pajama when you have a
For
Zoom.
sure.
When you
For
have
sure,
a
for sure.
so it's like nice or you know it's mixed feeling.
What is your feelings, or what are your feelings with, like, this the private lessons being changed to Zoom and online?
Um, Zoom, the quality of the sound, like Zoom is more focused for the like for the what do you call like the visual because it's
Sure.
the meeting, so
For sure, for sure.
they don't focus on like audio quality, so
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
really hard. Like I feel like FaceTime has the better quality
Hmm.
to have to have lessons with my teacher, but even when I teach,
Yeah,
it's harder because you have to try harder. It's
definitely.
there is something you cannot tell from Zoom calls.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was actually going to ask you. I mean, you're on both sides, really. Like, you're a student with Mr. Hans Jensen, but also you have a few students you have to teach yourself, right, during this
But
kind of time.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's I don't know. It's actually nice because you have to be really focused when you teach to hear every little details. But
yeah,
when you actually teach people in person, you could tell really easily what's wrong. But now I have to be really focused to see what's the problem, how to fix those. And
hmm,
then since it's not something you don't teach them in person, what you demonstrate or what you say to them is really crucial for them to understand what you're trying to say. It's
Yeah,
actually a
absolutely.
good learning experience for me too.
No, definitely. I think from the teaching side, it's like I think all the teachers now, we're very used to just demonstrating in person or just like visualizing, but now in like this sort of conference call setting, we have to really, be very verbal and very meticulous with what we say just to
Right.
sort of hone our point. And actually, that leads me to the next question. I mean, uh, when you came back to Macon for Fabian, this whole coronavirus is slowly starting to, get even more serious, and obviously now there's like a global lockdown. Things are quarantined still. Um, but do you think, in some ways, like the music profession, like with all this access to technology, like do you think music was just sort of late to try this kind of technology, or do you think like we were just too comfortable in our own ways? Like, what do you think? Do you think this has been like, in some ways, half glass full for the profession to really see that we can actually go beyond just the traditional concert setting, beyond just stage and audience?
Um, that's actually a really good question. I do think classical music in a way it's meant to be played live.
For sure.
Oh, the experience with audience in the house with you,
Of course.
it's something so unique, and then I don't think that's something could be replaceable.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, but as the technology getting better and better, we
Hmm.
actually like when you see those living room live concert now, the
Uh-huh.
only I really do feel like people are interested in those kind of settings.
For
But
sure.
the only downside is the sound quality is not good.
Yeah, definitely.
That is the but I feel like maybe for few more years when the audio quality can be better and better, like a
Hmm.
living room concert will be a thing. I think it's definitely something. It's people would want to see it even more.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, like, I think also with technology and music is, we slowly changed recently. I mean, the last few years alone, like we have people using, iPads, pedals, and that alone, even though it's not necessarily affecting our sound quality, I think it affects the accessibility for music. And
Right.
so,
It
I mean,
makes our life easier.
yeah, definitely. So I feel like in some ways this is a good time. I mean, let me know your thoughts. That like technology, this is a good time for musicians to learn something new, like to get better at not just their craft, not their artistry, but sort of just how they fit in the world we live in today. Would you
Right.
say? Or
Right. Yeah. Of course. That's why social media is such a big part of anything right now. Any professional like any profession. It's like social media as a useful tool could help your career be more successful. So
definitely
as as musicians, we sometimes we have this pride or we have this like
authenticity,
yeah
that
right.
sort of thing.
But
Yeah,
in a way, it's nice to try different things. It's nice to build a career that no one has ever done before. It's fascinating.
yeah, definitely. So, I've heard from some colleagues and friends, like, and classmates of mine, with a pandemic like this, obviously lack of motivation, but sort of just like a fear that being a musician is really no longer, viable. It's no longer a career, and like something like coronavirus has exposed that. I mean, since you're kind of like, you're obviously a professional, amazing cellist, but you're also a student, so I feel like you have some thoughts on both sides, I believe, right? Like, what do you think?
Um, I think that freelancing is such a um difficult life.
For sure.
So like during these circumstances, it's just like you have no income because there's
Yeah.
no. And I do think being a professional, like being a performer, when you do,
Hmm.
you only rely on performing. It's not
For
enough.
sure.
When this kind of situation happens, it just you have no income. You cannot pay your rent. You cannot afford anything.
Yeah,
Sitting in
absolutely.
the house, just just hope for the best.
For
And that's
sure.
why I think having a teaching job or teaching job actually
Sure.
it's
Some sort of institutional
yeah
job. Yeah, because even like orchestras right now, it's
they
it's
have.
hard. It's really difficult right now for all musicians. But would you say like that's like this whole coronavirus is a reason to not pursue music per se, or do you think like this will be something that the world will recover from and hopefully things can get back to normal? I guess what I'm saying is it worth people who believe that they can have a career in music to still pursue music?
Yes, definitely. I do think music is something can heal people. I do just like there are so many videos about like music healing about
For
the
sure.
during this situation, and then I do think music is something that could bring us together. And then as human, as like for the humanity, I think music is such a noble connection to the world and
Absolutely.
to us. You know.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. All right. Well, I mean, let's backtrack. Let's shift gears a little bit. Obviously, there are some exciting things for you. When we were talking at Fabian, you had a lot of upcoming concerts and performances, and I think you were recently named into the Lincoln Center program. Has that sort of momentum? Has that kept you motivated right now to practice? Are you looking forward to sort of those kind of things, those engagements? Let me know.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts?
that definitely plays an important role for me to be motivated still.
For
But
sure.
I do, but I, for the for mo- I let me just say this for motivation. I do think it's something doesn't come from future performance, future opportunities. It's something
For sure.
from coming from inside of you. Um,
Yeah.
the way I motivate myself is things I might have to play a lot of concerts in the future, and
Okay.
I might not have time to learn the reps I truly enjoy.
Hmm.
So this is the perfect time for me to fully like try to understand those works, try to practice something I always wanted to, but didn't have the chance to, didn't have the time and didn't have the chance
Yeah.
to practice. So that's how I
Absolutely.
that's how I keep my own motivation.
Okay. For sure. For sure. Um, yeah. I mean, that's definitely very, very noble, very authentic. I think we can all relate. But do you find it like a struggle to like learn rep and sort of just think like, well, I have no idea when I'm actually gonna play this right now. Like, what makes it worth learning for you? Is it just your fascination with the music, or is it sort of just like what you think you can portray to audiences in the future? Like, take me through your thought process.
For me, I would like to set small goals
Hmm.
just to keep myself motivated. Um, for that, that's kind of nice to be a student now because we have student class every week still.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
we still have lessons I can play for Mr. Jensen, and then also I
Hmm.
if I chose to I could play in student class. So
Yeah.
that's those small goals, and I'll also set goals like I want to learn
Hmm.
really I want to learn this sonata really fast. I wanted to finish it in 2 weeks,
Hmm.
and then maybe I want to learn 3 sonatas in 6 weeks.
Hmm.
To go through it, and after that I can dig into deeper stuff when I coming back again. So it's always small steps for me.
Okay.
Yeah. If your goal is too long, be like, I wanna do what like in like 10 months, whatever it is quarantine time. That won't really do anything for at least for me. It's
Yeah.
always goals is better for myself to be motivated.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Let's shift gears. Let's talk about your journey into music. I think you have a lot of accolades and accomplishments. So let's just start from the beginning. I mean, you're a fantastic cellist. How was music introduced to you in your life?
It's actually a funny story. I started learning violin when I was 9 years old,
Hmm.
and it was just like none of my family members play instrument ever.
Yeah. Same here, actually.
My mom, yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's fascinating how we got into music. And then my mom loves music. She always
Hmm.
wanted to learn, but my granddad didn't give her the chance.
Uh-huh.
So and then also there was a policy in China, in Shanghai at least,
Uh-huh.
when you play instruments, you can get extra credits to for like
Hmm.
getting to high school and middle school.
Yeah.
So my mom saw this ad on news It's a violin class in this elementary school. It's like one teacher for
Uh-huh.
10 students, something like that. And
Mhm.
my mom forced me, actually forced me to try that class. So we went there, and then I was like, oh, violin, okay, this is violin. I have to do this and do that, and then just play. And after a year, I had a chance to audition for some youth orchestra,
Awesome. Awesome.
and so I went. I played a piece for the judges, and then the
Uh-huh.
judges, the judges were like, "You're pretty bad at it." They're
That's
like,
funny.
"Your left hand, your both hands are tense. There's
Yeah.
nothing. It's like, just everything looks awkward." I was like,
Mhm.
I didn't care at the time, so I would say, "Okay, fine." And
Sure.
one of the judges said, "I see. I kind of find your hands are pretty big. Have you considered switch to another instrument called cello?" So at the
Ah.
time, I have no idea what cello is. Asking my mom, my mom was like, "You hate standing and practice, right?" And then she said, "Yeah, cello can sit and practice." And then I was like, "Yes, I'm gonna switch." Violin that much.
Yeah.
Oh, when the chance come, I just like I need to change. And then I changed, and then I switched, and I met my first teacher. And the first lesson, I was kind of like fell in love, or like with the sound of the cello. It just it touches me, you know. It's just like you have the click.
Was that like your sort of aha moment for you to really like think about what you wanted to do for a career? Would you say like that was like
No, actually no. I that click is more like I really want to learn this. It's not
okay,
like I want to do that as a career.
okay.
And so that's how I was 8. I was 10 years old, I think.
Hmm.
And then my first cello teacher thought I was talented, and then I thought I have like he thought that I have the chance to get into the music school, the Shanghai like music Shanghai Conservatory of Music, like
Okay.
it was like music, middle school, elementary school, high school.
Yeah, 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 for sure.
I after like 8 months, I tried to audition for that, and I got in
Hmm.
luckily, and then my mom actually played a really important role in my life. So every time when from elementary school to middle school, she'll ask me, "Do you want to do this? Do you want to keep
I
doing
see.
it?" And if she would be like, "If you don't want to do it, if you don't want to practice anymore, we can stop. We can just go to normal middle school."
Okay.
And then same thing happened when I from middle school to high school. She asked me again. She even asked me when I tried to when I before I went to McDuffie Center.
Oh.
This is your last chance.
Yeah.
If you're gonna go study abroad, you really it's you. It's just
Yeah.
only we even though my mom doesn't really tell me to like practice,
Hmm.
but the fact that she's there,
Yeah.
I had to practice, right?
Yeah.
The fact that I'm alone in America,
Hmm.
that she really wants me to think through and then to decide what is best for myself. So obviously I decide, yes, of course I want to do music.
Hmm.
So as a career, I guess that's when I decide, or I don't know. I never really plan my life. That just happened. What happens just happens. I like just follow the waves. Whatever the wave goes,
For sure, for sure. So, did you, obviously you studied with Hans for a long time now. Did you guys link up prior to McDuffie? Did you have any experiences at Middleman, or like how did that relationship build up to
yeah,
begin with?
it was minimal actually. When I was 16 years old, I
Hmm.
had the opportunity to go to Meadowmount.
Uh-huh.
I didn't really speak English at the time, and my airplane my my yeah my plan was like 2 days delayed, and I have to stay in JFK for like 18 hours, and
Oh man.
I don't even know how to say like really just simple conversations. I can't really do that.
Hmm.
And I have to, Meadowmount, you have to go to a ferry, and just it's all complicated. And then somehow I got there. I was like 4 days late, and then I met Hans,
Yeah.
and then I had one lesson on Schumann concerto, the first
Okay.
lesson. I just love him so much.
Hmm.
His teaching and his like personality just we clicked. It's just something. It's just like if things click, then you know that's gonna work out. And
Yeah, absolutely.
I enjoy working with him, and I think like he enjoyed too, because you know
Hmm.
you have this interaction between your teacher and yourself, and yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I was 16. That I was done when I was 16. Yeah, that was 16. And then after 2 years, before I have to send applications and stuff, I
Hmm.
told him I want to study with you because I can't even say anything like nice. I don't even know about the email. So I want to study with you. What? Where can I study with you? That's how.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how Hans introduced the McDuffie Center, Mercer University.
Okay.
How things worked out.
So, I mean, obviously, you finish your bachelor's at McDuffie, you finish a master's at Northwestern, correct? And then now you're doing a DMA. But in between all of that, you've had some successes, right? You've had some competition experience. I mean, I think people are interested in knowing. Obviously, I've seen your name on Queen Elizabeth, Tchaikovsky, ARD. I mean, tell me all about that kind of lifestyle. I mean, obviously, learning the instrument is one part of it, where you're performing for people, mastering the music for yourself, and, for I guess your own benefit and for your own teaching later in the future. But would you say like competitions were a big reason for helping you progress forward, or?
Yes, absolutely. I do think competition is a really nice tool to get to be motivated.
For sure.
Everything is about motivation.
Okay. Yeah.
Because, if you don't have motivation, then you can't go anywhere. It's like for me, I'm like I have something here, just like I need to do
Hmm.
the preparation. I do care about the result, but the result is
Yeah.
the ultimate goal for me. It's like you need to go through a lot of things to get successful. A
Okay. Yeah.
failure doesn't mean that you cannot be successful. A failure is just
Hmm.
a part of the process. So by doing competitions, like working with Hans, preparing for competitions is such a it's pain and it's happiness too. Like he
Yeah.
always pushes you. The moment you think you're good, he just destroys you. Be like, you know,
For sure.
it's something like, and I bounced back, and then I got better, and I felt good again. It's not good enough, and then it's always this. It's a positive like a circle when we just get better and better.
Definitely.
And then also for competitions, funny. Everyone says that a lot of people said doing competition. I said this too. Doing competition is really important, but if you treat it as a competition, or if you perform, or
Hmm.
if you play in the competition, if you treat the competition as a competition, then you probably screw it up. Because you
Yeah.
cannot treat competition as a competition. You should treat the competition as an opportunity to perform.
Yeah.
But this is really easy to say that
Yeah. For
it's
sure.
so everyone could say that, but for me, the process up until the day when you perform in the competition, you
Hmm.
should build that mentality all the way
Yeah.
through. You cannot preparing it as a competition,
Absolutely.
and you go there be telling yourself, oh, this is just a performance opportunity. That's not gonna work.
Hmm.
For me, I prepare it. My mental like state, my mentality is just this is a chance for me to show what I capable of, and then what's my this is my love of my life. So I
Yeah.
want to show you that.
Well, I feel like it takes a lot of discipline, right? It just, obviously there's the mental side and the physical side, but in some ways, I mean, did you do anything different? Obviously, people, you practice a lot. Obviously, you're getting these lessons, but would you say for competitions, there's this another side of preparation, like, how you eat, like your diet during that kind of time, or even, do you get in a balance between physical exercise and musical practice? Like, do you think there's sort of other factors involved in your competition, like preparation, or is it just like eyes on the prize, focus on the cello?
Um, I don't do much of like physical exercises because I can't.
Uh-huh.
I'm just too skinny to mow. It's maybe it's me being lazy, but I don't do that often. The only exercise I do is jump rope.
Okay.
Jump rope. Like diet. I don't know. I don't do much diet too.
Just eat well. This is all you do.
Do normal. For me, it's just normal, and then
Okay.
practice more. That's basically it. Maybe less drinking or.
Because I feel like, I know you're a big NBA fan and all that. It's just like, in some ways, are competitions more like the playoffs, or is it more like the finals? Like, what is it to you? Or is it just like sort of putting yourself in the draft and hopefully you get selected kind of thing? What
I
do you
do
think
think
the
the
parallels
draft is
are?
really important too, and then the final maybe the draft and the final. That
Yeah.
that that basically determine your life, or not determine your life, not really, but the draft is how you get selected by all the
Mhm.
teams, and the final is who wins the title.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think there's a difference between how you prepare in like a audition compared to a competition? Like, do you have different goals, or do you still have like that same laser focused, you know, just like you're just gonna do your best, you're just gonna practice a lot and show them what you got, kind of thing?
Yeah, I think for me, I think doing auditions and doing competitions are pretty much the same. It just you have to be fully prepared
Yeah,
and just do the best you can at the moment.
yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like the competitions you've done, I mean, it's no easy task to even be selected. But,
Right.
what are your, like, tell me your journey through, was there any, not pros and cons per se, just the similarities and the differences between doing the Tchaikovsky competition, the Queen Elizabeth, for example. Like, how are your experiences with both of those?
For Tyke, I really wanted to I really wanted to win. I think
Okay.
that's something that was not working so well because it
Okay.
Hans had three students going to Tyke,
Yeah.
and then a month before Tyke, we three of us we were all at Evanston.
Hmm.
I was because the school ended earlier at Mercer, so I flew to Evanston
Yeah.
just for the competition. And I think that's the first time even for Hans to prepare such a big competition, and then with three of his students, and then we just we he pushed us a little too far.
Okay.
We'll be like comparing each other. Well, he always does that to motivate us, but it's
Uh-huh.
it's little like we all feel a little tense. It's
Okay.
even like psychologically, it's not that healthy.
Sure.
For me, when I think about the whole process of me doing tech, and then the whole process for me doing um, Queen and ARD,
Yeah.
getting easier and easier. Not easier. It's like getting more relaxing.
Sure.
If you are fully all the time is this,
Yeah.
you're gonna burn out.
Yeah.
There's no energy left. The only
What,
thing you
what,
do is calm, practice the best you can, and just go
mhm.
there.
Well, would you say that, like, through your experiences, I mean, I think it shows in the results. I mean, you've done tremendously well. Like, would you say that there are some things that you eliminated that just didn't work in the previous competition, that or you tried something new for the new competitions, like, or did you just, like, how did you approach it for each one? I'm sure it was all focused practicing, but I feel like there's probably more to it, right?
Yeah, like the really nice thing about competitions is that you can be there and then hear different people play. So
Hmm.
I think you can learn a lot to from just watching people play. You will know the trend, not the trend. Like you will hear something that they're doing and then you are not doing, and then
Yeah.
what they're doing is really nice, and then you just never thought about that, and then
Okay.
you can use that into other pieces that ultimately gets you better and better. It's the thing about I didn't do something differently. I just kept wanting to get better. I think
Okay.
the drive is really important. The efficiency for your practice, like you how do you say the, the growth you have be like during those years is
Hmm.
something and preparing to you to get better. but that's something, it's like so subtle. Sometimes you don't even realize that. It's like doing Chaik. I thought again nothing except practicing a
Yeah.
lot. After a few years of thinking back, I'm like, yeah, those practices made my playing better. It just, you cannot see the result so
Hmm.
soon. Just you
Yeah.
have to wait. Sometimes patience is something, it's like important too.
So for these competitions, like obviously, like there's a certain level of playing to it, but I feel like in some ways the repertoire you have some freedom for it, right? But for me as a bass player, I've noticed in auditions that like it's very easy when you're practicing for goals for repertoire to get stale. Like do you have a reasoning for the repertoire you choose? Like do you have any like oh, if they're asking for a concerto, I'm definitely gonna do, let's say, like Dvorak, Haydn D. Like, do you have those kind of things for competition set, or do you just sort of feel it out for every competition and what you think you should present?
I have done Schumann for every competitions. I've done, actually. Well, Schumann,
Okay.
well, Haydn sometimes I do first or sometimes I do second, but
Huh.
Schumann, for competitions it's interesting because I want to do something else. But the
Hmm.
thing, if they list few like four concertos, let's say, you can choose
Yeah.
from. Maybe
Okay.
Schumann is one of them.
Yeah.
Now you kind of know, maybe you kind of know one of the others, and then there's two you definitely you never played it before.
Uh huh.
For me, the most familiar one is of course is Schumann, and I
Hmm.
deeply love that piece so much. So that's, I'm gonna definitely do that. There's no, there's it's not like I don't want to learn something new, but it's just
Yeah.
like one competition comes, it's
The
it's
sense
better
of
that
comfort.
you have to play something you know really well,
Yeah.
and then
Definitely.
after the competition you can learn a lot of other concertos. You know,
Hmm.
it's not that like now I'm learning a concerto too, so it's like I'm using my free time to learn stuff. But for competitions, if you want to do well in the final, maybe playing a concerto that you know really really inside out,
Yeah.
that really helps.
Well, I mean, I think your successes have definitely translated. I mean, you're a DMA candidate now, and now you're gonna be part of the Lincoln Center, right? I mean, tell me more about that program. Like, what was the process for that? Like, what is the program?
The CMS Bowers program is it's a 3 years residency with
Okay.
CMS artists of the CMS program. It's
Sure.
basically we will play a lot of concerts with the CMS artists, and then as well as with the Bowers program artists. It's actually a dream come true. I always wanted to be at the, actually I heard the CMS Lincoln Center program years, like many years ago,
Okay.
and I thought that, and then also my passion about chamber music is something have been with me all the time. I had a
Hmm.
qualified back then in Shanghai, and we did really well. And then we decided to go to Vienna for college, and I
Okay.
said I want to study with Mr. Jensen. Some of them went to Vienna. They're still there, but
Yeah.
they only two original members. They're doing well too. They're called Simply Quartet. So
Awesome. Awesome.
for the many years in the States, I really miss playing chamber music.
Hmm.
And I auditioned for Music at Menlo with its director Wu Han and David Finkel,
Fickle. Yeah.
and I had a great time there. And it's
Awesome.
really intense, but I had so much fun and I learned so much there. And then that's when Wu Han was telling me about, yes, we're gonna have the audition in 2 years.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, okay, son, I'm gonna try it.
So is this a new program essentially from Lincoln Center or
No,
what?
it's its formal name is called CMS2. They just
Okay.
changed the name recently, I think.
Okay. I
Yeah,
see.
and it means a lot. The program and then all the program itself.
Hmm.
It, it the pieces they play, the title or the every concerts they have, it means something. They have always the purpose of putting a program together. It's not just like, okay, we're gonna put the Bojack Quintet, we're gonna put whatever in there. They have a,
For sure.
and then the way they do the CMS, the Lincoln Center, it's so fascinating. I'm so drawn into the program, and then I listen to their concerts online live, and then now I'm a part of that. It just it's
It's surreal, huh?
my honor. It's such fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what was I gonna say? I mean, you mentioned a love for for chamber music, and I think as a basis, we're very limited in chamber music, but McDuffie Center has done a good job of it. Would you say, like, in all your experiences in chamber music, Metal Mount, back in China with your friends who are now in Vienna, or even now Northwestern, or just all the performances you've done, is chamber music for you, like, do you find love in the music, or is there sort of like another love for like the people you meet in chamber music? Because from my experience, I feel, especially in my position of running a festival, a lot of the beauty of chamber music really comes from the relationships you make with the other artists. I
I,
mean,
I,
yeah,
I think I agree with both. I think both are a big part. Like the people you meet when you play
for
instruments,
sure.
and then the music you're making.
Yeah.
I feel like chamber music, at least quartets, the most I played.
Uh-huh.
It's so it's such like a Bible, you know. It's so detailed.
Yeah.
Like everything you four of you do, you have to be in sync.
Hmm.
It's something it's beyond what we trained as a solo performer, like solo instrument performer. You just
Yeah, absolutely.
it's like there are more more layers on top of your own ability to play an instrument, and then
Hmm.
also the music making. You have to agree with one interpretation. You cannot do something the cellist wants to do it, but the violinist
Yeah.
don't want to do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
You
definitely.
come to an agreement with doing something, but that comes to do interaction with people.
For sure.
When you are playing with other people, it's not just you. It's a group. The group
Hmm.
effort is something. It's so unique for chamber music. But who decides? Are you gonna
Yeah,
do a discussion or what? It's
definitely.
something like I enjoy doing it. I enjoy discussing with people. I'm
Hmm.
open to any ideas. That's something I miss too. And then the group effort a, to put a great concert, great piece or whatever. It's so satisfying.
Yeah, definitely.
Like when you play a Beethoven quartet and you play it
Hmm.
really well, and all of us, the satisfaction is beyond solo playing. No, it's not beyond. It's like different than
Hmm.
solo performance. I think chamber music is an essential tool for any musician.
Yeah.
There's no way you can leave chamber music out of the equation.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think chamber music is one of those things where it becomes very selfless. Like, you obviously have your role in a team of musicians. But, I mean, do you get any satisfaction when you're sort of performing chamber music for an audience? Like, can you feel the sort of the ambiance in a concert hall when you are playing like string quartets or quintets? Like, what are
Yeah,
your thoughts?
playing solo recitals are harder than playing like to communicate with audience. I feel like
Hmm.
chamber music is such like a small version of an orchestral, or a small version of like orchestra. But
Yeah.
people are like I think at least for like string instruments,
Uh huh.
solo string instruments, people are like little difficult, like feel like little
Hmm.
distant to 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 communicate with you. But for string quartet, I think it's the atmosphere is more welcome. It's
Hmm.
more um, easy approach for the audience to be at the same page with the quartet than with the soloist. I know this is kind of like odd thinking,
Yeah.
but I do feel like that. I do feel like string quartets is easier to communicate with the audience.
So, I guess we have time for one more thing. I've been following you on Instagram, and obviously we met, and we get along really great. And by the way, you should come to Hawaii sometime. We would
I
love to
love
have you. Yeah, we should definitely make it happen. You mentioned solo recitals being difficult, but I've heard your tapes on Instagram from Bach and stuff. You play fantastically, and I also I heard that when you were at McDuffie, I think for your senior recital, you just did Bach 5, Bach 6, done. That's all you did. Essentially, with your Instagram feed being a lot of Bach, like, what is your fascination with the six suites? I'm sure you have a reason behind playing them often, right? Or often sharing that music with us.
um I just think that the six suites are just such a genius work. You know,
Hmm.
back then, string instrument is just like a solo instrument,
Yeah.
not like a harmonic instrument.
Hmm.
It's not a polyphony instrument.
Hmm.
It's but Bach invents something. We have a bass line, we have a top line. Sometimes we will have a fugue
Yeah.
in our cello suites. It's something. It's just so creative,
Hmm.
and then the music itself is such. It's just so touching to people. It's just like you can feel like you're connecting. You're connecting yourself to like a higher atmosphere.
Higher being. There's like a higher being
Right,
in you.
right. And just
Yeah.
the music itself is so gorgeous and so touching, and so it's just something like it's so fragile. It's we have to hold it really well, and then also the piece itself for like composition or whatever,
Sure.
like the technique, it's eye opening.
Well, what are your thoughts on like, you know, there's so many recordings of Bach, and then, obviously there's so many people who have done great interpretations of the suites, and, even someone like Yo-Yo Ma, for example, he has like what, 3 recordings now to this day. Like, how do you find your interpretation for Bach?
Um, for for myself, I do score studies, all of that, all of the stuff. But I have a little habit. I will practice in the room.
Hmm.
Most likely in the evening. I'll just turn
Okay.
off the lights.
Yeah.
I'll just sit in the room and be quiet, just be calm for like 5 minutes. I'm not doing anything, just like meditating.
Yeah.
So and then after that, I'll start playing. I'll start. I'll forget about everything. It's technical.
Okay.
Even style, even for style, maybe I'll do something stupid about like just do slurs or vibrato or whatever. But I want
Mhm.
to feel the music. I want to
Sure.
have this connection from me to Bach.
Hmm.
Um, there are a few moments I feel like Bach is inside of the room. Maybe if it's funny, but I do feel like that. I'll be like, okay, Bach, maybe
Definitely.
yeah, it's something like Bach is personal, and it's
Sure.
and then also it's universal too. And
Absolutely.
how to find the balance between you and between Bach. It's not you can't just present yourself for
Hmm.
Bach. There's no way. But if you just, but we don't know what Bach wants actually,
Yeah.
right? You have to put some personality into it. But finding the balance and finding what I like or what I feel about his music, what I can, resonate from what he wrote is something really important to me. So that lights off thing I do quite often. I just
So
want
I
to.
mean, definitely how you played like the sixth suite in undergrad compared to the sixth suite now. I'm sure, this feeling or this approach or this I guess the inspiration you get from Bach, it must have changed, right? Or would you say that like a lot? All right, and I guess, the final question is, which out of the 6 suites do you, if you had to choose one, if there was only one suite, yeah, which would be the one?
Uh, I had to choose one. Tricky question. Uh,
Well, I mean, let's start with an easier question. Which one is your favorite out of the 6?
they are all my favorite. Okay, I love. Let's say six.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think it's like for six,
Like
you just feel like your soul is lifted up.
it's
It's
like
like
it's like being in heaven. I agree. Yeah.
right, and then but like if we didn't have the fifth suite, the sixth suite wouldn't sound so uplifting, because we have this deep like sorrowful fifth suite, which is all like everything is just like oh it's so sad or and
So
now we
which
have the sixth suite. I think for Bach everything is really connected. I can't choose a suite that is my favorite.
yeah.
It's like
I mean, so you would say that like I think the beauty is, the suites. If you play like one suite, it can definitely stand on its own. Like if you play it
right,
in a program, whatever, it can definitely. But when you're playing all 6, would you say that it tells like a complete story, like sort of like a book of novels? Like, what are your
Uh,
thoughts?
yeah, definitely. I do think like like the Bach cello suites.
Yeah.
It's a one thing. It's not a six suites. It's such
Okay.
like a journey from from like people say it's from young to old or whatever, but it's
Uh-huh.
you can say that or for me it's just a journey. Like for me, the first prelude, I have this really vivid image of me sitting on a train and just the window, and then
Yeah.
the train starts rolling, and then you will have it's just like you just all the views it's just passing by. It's nothing really. It's not deep. It's not like
Sure.
deep, right? It's just something. It's just from G major to D minor, and from D minor to C major, and then it's like E flat major, and then we have this deep C minor, and finally we have the D major at the end. So
Yeah.
it's a journey. It's just really like a lifetime storytelling.
You should just write a book on the six suites.
I'm thinking about writing my dissertation on the Bach suites. So
Awesome.
we'll
Awesome.
see how that goes.
Okay, well, anyways, well, thank you, Sihao. For all you people listening and viewing this video, we hope you like and subscribe Broadcast Hawaii. As you know, our last episode was Mr. Robert McDuffie, and now we have Center alum and Northwestern alum Sihao He. Sihao, is there anything you would like to say? Final words? Any sort
Yeah,
of
of
thing?
course. Thank you for
Future
having me.
goals?
Oh, yeah, no. Thank you for having me. And then it's such a pleasure to talk on the Hawaii channel, broadcast channel.
Yeah, definitely. No, I mean we're definitely stoked to have you, and hopefully after COVID, we'll find a time to bring you out, assuming you're not too famous and too busy and too expensive.
I'll definitely come to the Hawaii festival. It's such a it will be fun.
Well, awesome. And I guess the last thing is, is any exciting future plans that you want to share, or anything that people don't know about, on top of all the accolades you have already?
Future plans. I'm planning to do more Bach concerts. That's my. I'm planning to do. Oh, okay. So my plan is we are trying to find six female Chinese composers to compose
Okay.
six Chinese related new pieces to
Oh,
be like a part like to put together with the box six suites. I'll be
yeah.
playing one new piece of suite and one new piece of suite, and then we're trying to work this thing sort this thing out. We have five composers already, so we'll see how that goes.
So it's like Bach pairings.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Well, again, thank you, Siao, for your time. And like I said to all you listeners and viewers, I hope you like and subscribe Broadcast Hawaii. If you like what you heard from Siao, you can definitely check him out on Instagram and his website. And we'll be having more artists just like Siao. Thank you, Siao.
All right, thank you so much for having me.